Day 4 of telling my story until I can afford to leave Texas. So I mentioned before that I have anemia. I found out I had iron deficiency anemia in April of 2023 after being admitted to the hospital for a blood transfusion. Then in late June or early July this year, I found out that I also have a vitamin D deficiency, which contributed to my anemia. I went through so much pain with doctors overprescribing me antibiotics, and they didn't believe me about my symptoms or how much pain it was causing me, or why they didn't understand why I would have such severe dehydration. And I really think the reason why all of that happened and why I had such a terrible reaction to antibiotics was because of my low blood volume from being anemic. Knowing that I had vitamin D deficiency, when you're very low on vitamin D, your body really can't protect itself from inflammation. Vitamin D is one of the main nutrients in your body that protects you from inflammation. So it protects your organs, it protects your joints, it protects your tendons and cartilage. And doctors could see all of this on my medical records, that my cells were shrunken, that they were misshapen, they were all odd sizes, my platelets were smaller than normal, and yet doctors never took me seriously about my symptoms. I remember there was this one doctor in the ER, and she really did not care about my suffering. She was like really aggressive for no reason, and I really didn't understand why. But then she started saying all these things about my weight and about my anxiety and how I have chronic conditions that can't be treated and that that's not their problem. And it gave me the indication that there must have been something written in my chart to dismiss everything I was complaining about and telling them about as far as my symptoms. She literally told me that there was nothing wrong with me, to go home, to lose weight, and then prescribe me anxiety medications and some other mental health drugs so that I could go home and take those, and I guess that would fix the problem. Basically, I got the sense from her that they didn't want to see me in the ER again. It was really stressful going through all this because I had so much pain in my right side, especially above and below my liver, in my back, in my spine area. I already have a deteriorated disc in my spine. And I just really am thinking about how that might have been worsened by the antibiotics overdose. I was really proud of myself, though, because even though I was really overwhelmed and I was extremely sad that everybody was ignoring my health conditions and not listening to me, and I really was tired of having to come back into the ER again and again and again. Even through all of that, I still advocated for myself, and I let this doctor know that anxiety is a side effect of anemia. The dehydration is a side effect of anemia, because they were literally accusing me of not drinking enough water. I was drinking so much water that when they did my CT scan, they saw that my bladder was over distended. And I don't know why, but they don't really take it seriously when your red blood cells are showing signs of anemia and when your platelets are showing signs of anemia. They only care about hemoglobin level. But if you have abnormally shaped red blood cells, very small blood cells, sickle-shaped blood cells, small platelets, those are all indications of anemia and other serious conditions. It affects everything, like the amount of oxygen that goes into your blood and how blood pumps through your heart. So it's not a small thing. And I think that ER should take more into consideration than just your hemoglobin level. But for those of y'all who don't know about anemia, it is a blood condition that occurs when the body is so deficient and certain nutrients, especially iron, that it no longer has the ability to continue making healthy red blood cells. You know, your blood cell production will slow down, and eventually it may completely stop. And your body will be completely depleted of iron and completely depleted of the ability to make red blood cells. Your body can become so depleted of iron and other nutrients that it actually begins to pull the nutrients out of storage in your bone marrow. That's why your platelets can be small and abnormal, is because your bone marrow is being depleted. Anemia can actually cause cell damage and cardiovascular injuries like heart attacks, strokes. It can literally kill you. When I told all of this to that doctor, she literally just stood there in shock, like she'd never heard this before, which was shocking to me. And I really left like wondering, how are doctors surprised by this information? Like, how do they not have this information? How do they not understand how anemia works and how dangerous it is? I've heard lots of doctors on social media say that they didn't get any training in nutrition at all, not even one course. And nutrition is one of the main things that makes your body run. So that's weird. Like deficiencies can cause diabetes. Deficiencies can cause anemia and other blood disorders. Deficiencies can even play a role in cancer. It just sucks how so many of us don't get taken seriously, especially those of us with chronic illness, especially when we have life-threatening conditions and they're just not being taken seriously. So on Saturday, I have an appointment coming up to see my doctor again at the free clinic. And I really want to ask her for a whole bunch of different testing because I don't know why, but they're not giving me much testing to find out what's going on inside my body and what's causing me pain. And I'm really concerned that I have cysts or growths either on my liver or somewhere, maybe deterioration of some cartilage or something like that between my ribs. I don't know. But I really want to have comprehensive testing done to rule out a bunch of things and just find out what's going on, what's causing the pain. Is it going to be a permanent situation or is this something that is going to heal over time? And just like in general, make sure that my organs are all okay, there's no scarring, and that I don't have something like cysts or polyps or a tumor or something like that going on inside of me that's causing all this pain and pressure. Anyway, say a little prayer for me about the appointment because I am nervous. I know this is a free clinic. They don't have a huge budget. And like even the last time I went in there, I have a vitamin D deficiency and I asked to get tested to see where my vitamin D levels are and if they're going up, if I'm doing a good job or what's happening. And they did not want to test me for it because they said the test is expensive. Ultimately, I wish I had access to Medicaid or something like that. But in my state, in the state of Texas, they don't provide Medicaid to adults. So it's not something that is accessible to me. Right now we have an election coming up here in Texas and Colin Allred is running for Senate. And if he wins, he would replace Ted Cruz. If y'all have the opportunity to vote for Colin Allred and help us get Senator Ted Cruz out of office, that would do a lot to help people like me. Also, I've mentioned it before, but I do have a GoFundMe where I'm trying to raise funds to get out of Texas altogether and get access to medical care because other states, especially up north, have access to Medicaid for all of their citizens. So me being in a bad financial situation right now, I wouldn't have to go without medical care. I could have medical care in another state. I would have access to doctors. I would be able to go see specialists. I would get all the testing or radiology or blood work or whatever I needed. And so that is my ultimate goal because I don't know how many more years it will take for Texas to change. So if you want to help out a mom of two in Texas struggling with chronic illness, I do have a GoFundMe, which is linked in my bio. And I also have my Cash App, Venmo, and PayPal linked in my bio for immediate expenses. That's more to cover my rent, bills, groceries, and things like that while I am catching up because I was unable to work for about 6 months. Thank y'all in advance. If you do help and support, I really appreciate it. Thank y'all for listening, and I will see you in the next one.